G'day and welcome to the Hunting Connection podcast. My name is Zach Williams and I am your host. Here we'll connect you with hunters, fishers and outdoor enthusiasts from around the globe. This podcast will share hunting and fishing stories including past experiences and tackle the tough hunting stereotypes our community faces. We hope to be a positive influence to those outside the community while also having a laugh along the way. Hope you enjoy the podcast. G'day and welcome to another episode of Hunting Connection podcast. Today we have Brett Meldrum from New South Wales. How you going?
Good, mate. How you going?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. What's been going on? How was your day?
Pretty busy, mate. Pretty full on. Trying to repair all roads and fences and stuff on the farm after all the rain we've been having, and it's keeping busy.
Oh, I bet. It's been a pretty ridiculous spring, that's for sure.
It feels like winter again.
Oh, it's telling me it's been 8 degrees, 7 degrees down here. I think we had a top of 12, maybe 13 degrees today here. So it's
it's a little bit warmer than here, but no, it's a bit of a weird world at the minute.
Oh, it's hectic. But one benefit out of it is the feed for the antler growth next year. I'm looking forward to seeing what it brings.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, especially up your way. You seem to get some pretty gnarly heads up that way.
There's some good ones about, mate.
So we'll jump straight into it. Where exactly are you from?
Mate, Bathurst, New South Wales.
Bathurst, awesome. Past guest and one of my good mates, Cody Giron, he's up there. So beautiful part of the world.
Yeah, I chatted to him the other day. Actually, I saw Instagram story of these going on about Bathurst traffic, and I didn't even know he was around here over. So we might tee up one day and say good day to each other as well.
Definitely do it. He's a funny lad, and he's just an all round good guy, good hunter, good at morals and ethics. So
yeah,
so
that'd be good.
What do you do for work, mate?
I'm a farm manager.
Yep,
been so last 10 years or so now, and just running a sheep station at the minute for the last 4 years, and pretty lucky to live on the property that I work.
Amazing.
And, good hunting opportunities.
How many acres is that where you're working?
3,600.
3,600? Nice. Decent size. That's.
If you flattened it out, it'd be probably triple the size. It's very hilly.
Yeah, I bet. I can imagine seeing some footage and photos from that area. I imagine it being quite similar to the Adelaide Hills, maybe a little steeper in some bits.
Yeah, it does look a bit like that. When you go through Port Augusta, is that the Flinders that you go past?
Yeah, that's
what it looks like, a bit like that.
Yeah, pretty much greener though out that way. The Flinders tends to be pretty dry. Was that your first trip to SA? So you just went and did a camel trip with Hainsey. So was that your first trip through SA?
Yeah, my first time I've ever been there.
How'd you find that? How'd you find little old SA?
Bloody good, man. I love the countryside there, and the desert. It's just somewhere I've always wanted to see, the Nullarbor, and because I do a lot of reading about stuff like that, and I was very excited to get out there. And Hainsey sent out the invite, and I took him up on it pretty bloody quick. I wasn't going to mess around, and it's bloody well worth it. Yeah,
I don't blame you. I went on my first hunt with Hainsey this year during the rut and took my first red stag, and that's a hunt that we've been trying to get sorted for the last three or 4 years.
It's hard trying to get the times right together, isn't it?
Oh, it's crazy, especially I got a 2.5-year-old, so like the first one of the first years, we had a newborn, and it was just ridiculous trying to organize something. But we got there in the end. He's a very good guy, taking lots of people out for new species and first of species, and
he certainly is a top fella, mate.
How'd you go in the car with him for a few hours?
Well, I listened to your last podcast with him and the boys, and I was the same as you guys. I didn't expect that music to be blaring out of the car.
Mr. Techno Head, eh?
It was good, but
Oh yeah, it's a hell of a laugh, especially when you first get in there and the doof doof starts, and you're like, hang on a minute, like you'd expect like full blown country or something, but nah, doof doof straight out the bat.
Yeah, you get to know someone when you're in a car together for 4,500 kilometres, that's for sure.
How many hours in the car was that with him there and back?
Oh, shit. Well, the first drive was Adelaide Airport. I got out there about 8, and we drove right through to 6 the next morning until we got to his brother's house. And we were there for probably an hour, 2 hours, and straight back in the car until we ended up in the middle of friggin' nowhere by dark.
Jesus.
That was the program every day pretty much for 4 or 5 days, whatever it was there.
Yeah, you have to cover a lot of country chasing those camels down.
Yeah, there's not much out there, is there?
Nah, it's definitely a dream hunt of mine, that's for sure.
And I highly recommend doing it, mate. It's and the reward at the end of it, the meat, bloody hell, it's bloody nice, isn't it? You had some last podcast, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. Hainsey cooked it up for us, and it's incredible. I almost have no words for how good it is. Josh Bates from Send It Mate, he was saying it tastes like HJ's burgers. Like it's
certainly is nice, but isn't it? Wish I could have bought some home, but anyway.
Yeah, it would have been
not
would have been difficult. You'd have to drive down next time and meet him out there.
Yeah, I'd say that's what would be happening.
So how did you get into hunting and fishing?
Just on my own. I don't come from a hunting family or anything. My grandfather, he was always a pretty hard fisherman and that, and always out in the bush, and I sort of grew up with him.
Yeah.
And he influenced me a lot in that aspect, and had a few mates with rifles when we were younger, but I got my first bow. I was 15, a bit younger than 15, I think, and taught myself, and just started getting out there as much as I could with my mates' families, and just went from there and picked a bow up then, and I haven't put it down since, like 17, 18 years later.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. You've definitely had some pretty awesome success, especially over the last year.
Yeah, I got a bit crazy last year. I went all out as hard as I could, and it paid off, and that was a very good year. This year, I should say, it's a very good year. Done a lot of things this year I've always wanted to do, and I'm 37 now, so I better start really ticking these things off the list before the old body says no, because she's had a bit of punishment over my lifetime. So
I can imagine, but yeah, your rut looked like it incredible. How many animals did you get down over the rut?
I got 2 red stags and 2 fallow bucks.
Beautiful.
And I got a little eater deer in that.
Beautiful. And those aren't just red stags. Those things are freaking monsters, judging by the photos.
They are very big deer. I don't like talk about them like that much, because to me they're just a good deer. And the meat off it was incredible. The amounts of meat we got, and pretty lucky with genetics down here. But no, for the first red stags, they're very good heads. Very happy and proud of them. So
they're 2 deer of a lifetime with a bow, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know what's going to happen next rut. I probably won't ever do that ever again, but you never know.
Had they go eating those bigger boys, I haven't shot a deer that I haven't been able to eat, especially like full rut, like no issues. I've probably seen maybe 1 or 2 deer that mates have shot that have been pretty ruddy, but other than that, I haven't seen many issues.
Yeah, no, me neither. They've eaten pretty much every deer I've shot, and like they weren't ruddy, like stinking, and that it's sort of at the start of their roar, and like their paunches were empty, their stomachs, like they were starting to kick on. And the first one, he was chasing a girl, and the second one was with a girl. And it didn't really taint the flavour or anything. The second one was just a bit lighter on in condition, but he still ate just as good, because I'm pretty lucky I've got a cool room here.
Yeah.
I can skin them, quarter them up, and hang them for a week to 2 weeks, and that really, really does a good job on the meat, like setting it properly and having that air flowing around it. So, yeah, I've never really had a bad bit of meat out of there. So,
do you hang them with skin on or skin off?
The red stags I had to skin and quarter up because they're just a pure size of the bodies.
Big animals.
But just like if I get a spiker or something or a red hind, a young one, I'll hang it with the skin on for near 2 weeks.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, it's a good method, skin on, I reckon. Just stops stops that bit of meat wastage with the rind that builds up over the meat.
Yeah, that's right.
So, what's your main gear setup? So, do you have rifles or you just just bows?
Just bows for hunting, mate. Running a Matthews V3X 33 at the minute. That Wayne from the Nango Archery gave me. That's a bloody awesome bow to Matthews. I shot Hoyt first. My first proper wheelie bow was a Hoyt.
Yeah.
And that was back in 2007. That was a Vectrix Plus 80 pound with pretty much no let off whatsoever.
Yeah, wow.
I still got that bow. Actually, I've actually kitted it back up, put new strings. I'm going to do a video with it actually. But so then I shot Athens for a bit. Then I bought a Matthews Atlas because I got such a long draw, 31.5 inch. So I needed a long draw bow.
Yeah.
And I got talking with Wayne, and he put me onto the V3X because that goes out to 31.5, and I've been shooting that ever since. And I've now had some good animals with it. Got me camel with it, buffaloes, heap of pigs, goats. No, it's a really good bow to Matthews. Very happy with it. Yeah,
they are a beautiful bow, that's for sure. I've shot a couple, and they just shoot so smooth. I'm a PSE man myself, but if I had to get something else, it would probably be a Matthews.
Just the quietness of them as well is just next level.
Yeah, super smooth, super quiet, and just they shoot so nice and just hold well too. So
yeah, they got a pretty solid back wall on them. They're a quality bow.
What sight and arrow setup are you running?
The sight is a sword sight. It's an American company.
Yeah,
it's not so much known in Australia as such, but a mate of mine as Clayton's Outdoors, he's an Aussie distributor for him.
Awesome.
I think he's the only bloke in Australia actually that has them. They're just like your slider sight. You get single pin, free pin, all the rest of it. They got a heap of different sights. They're pretty good, big in America.
Yeah.
The arrows running a nap time Crucifix 250s.
Yep, beautiful. I love my nap times. That's what I got sitting next to me. Some Smackdown.
Yeah, Ben Edwards knows what he's doing with his arrows. And because my arrow's so long, it's 590 grains with a 150 grain tip on it.
Yeah, wow. So what's that total?
Yeah.
What's your total arrow weight then? 600.
590.
590 all up. Yeah, sweet. Yeah, I'm doing about 580 with my setup with 125 grains. So they shoot well. They hit hard. So you So you mentioned buffalo there. Did you change up your setting, or you run the same setup for?
I shoot different arrows and micro diameter, same weight pretty much. 150 grain head still.
Yeah.
Did the buffalo with, but the bow's exactly the same. 75 pound. The Matthews is as well.
Yep.
And same setup bow that I took free buffalo with and big pig.
Yeah, nice, very nice. That's another dream hunt. The old buff.
Oh, mate, you got to go. I remember the last podcast I was listening to. You went up to the territory.
Yes. When I was a young fella. Yeah, just got caught up in the party life, man. Just
I can't blame you.
So
I almost got caught up there the first night I was there.
Oh, I bet. Bloody Mitchell Street, eh?
Yeah, get ya.
So when you're out, what type of stuff do you carry in your backpack?
I always take wet weather gear with me. Just mainly just really a jacket. First aid kit with a snake bandage in it.
Yeah.
and they're like sutures and all that sort of stuff, antiseptics and stuff, and game bags. There may be a shirt and a bit of tucker with me, like my knives, some food and water.
What's your go-to snack while you're out?
I've been a bit of a fan of the Atlas Wild Bar, to be honest.
Yep, very nice.
Chocolate. That's always seems to find its way in my pack all the time.
Beautiful. What type of knives are you running when you go out?
Got the Spiker Challenger folding knife, the large one.
Yep.
And the Spiker ultralight, the scalpel knife.
Very nice. How good are scalpel knives?
Scalpels with it.
How do you do most of your skinning with the scalpel or?
More with the folding knife.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I've got a little Gerber, and I tend to skin with that quite a bit. It takes a little bit more time, but I find you just get that bit nicer of a finish on the skin.
Yeah, I prefer the shape of a sort of a fixed blade sort of knife over them a scalpel, to be honest.
Yeah, I prefer the shape too. I just like that finish that it has. It seems to just have that bit nicer of a finish on there. Yeah,
that's right. The scalpels are sort of a backup if I don't have a knife steel with me. When the knife gets blunt, I can grab one of them.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. What about bino harness? What are you running there?
I got the Spiker Drover bino harness, and binos I have Bushnell 10x50s, Bushnell Engage I think they're called, and running a Bushnell rangefinder.
Very nice, very nice. Bushnell makes some great stuff. I'm running a Bushnell rangefinder as well. They're very nice.
Yeah, I've been using them Bushnell for well over a decade now. Yeah, bloody good glass.
Yeah, very good, very good. What about pack? What are you running pack wise?
Spiker Drover 40 litre, and for backpacking I've got the 80 litre as well.
Nice. How do they carry? Good.
Yeah, I've had the 40 litre when they first came out, and I can see the whole fallow deer on them, and I put them through the ringer, and I haven't broken anything on it yet, so I'm bloody stoked with that. Good pack.
Beautiful. So you're using the 40 litre for, say, like just day hunting, or you can do an overnight?
Yeah. That's every day. I'll take the 80 litre for an overnight if I got all my ultralight hunting gear with me and that.
Very nice.
Oh.
So, what would be your top beginner tip for someone getting into hunting?
Oh, it's archery or just hunting in general?
Hunting in general.
Go with someone who knows what they're doing, and don't go with any cowboys or anything. Go with someone you know and someone who knows what they're doing, and listen.
Yep. That's great advice. How would you, because it's always, being a hunter, you're constantly getting asked by people to get taken out, whether it's someone that's hunting or someone that wants to learn how to hunt. What would be your top advice for someone who's new to hunting asking to go out with someone?
I'll just be straight up and ask. I wouldn't bullshit or beat around the bush or anything. I'd just be straight up what I want to do. If you know the fella, it's obviously a lot easier, but don't be pushy.
Yeah.
If you don't know as such on a personal level, sort of work into it. Like, become a mate first. You just can't expect someone to, knock around with you for a whole weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like me and Hainsey, we were talking for months and months and months and months before this camel hunt. Like, it wouldn't just happen off the bat, just hit him up, so can you take us? Like, become a mate with someone first and then work into that sort of stuff.
Yeah, 100%. That's great advice there. What about top 5 items for a beginner? What would you suggest?
So, obviously, first aid kit, number one, most important. If a beginner gets some country and he's out there on his own, get himself a GPS or an inReach. if he's got no phone service in case everything goes to shit.
Speaking of that,
And,
do you run iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
iPhone. So in the latest update, I seen that I haven't gone through my settings. I just seen a post about it, but iPhone have actually released some GPS setting that if you do get stuck in a pickle, that you can use the phone through satellites as like an emergency beacon.
Oh, that's a go. That'd be about time someone did that.
Yeah. I just seen it. I haven't looked too much into it, so it only just reminded me. I seen it a day or two ago, just after they done the new update. So that could be very handy for someone that doesn't have the particular coin to go out and just get a InReach or an emergency beacon.
That's because they can get pretty expensive, can't they?
Oh, they can. I'm pricing up an InReach for New Zealand at the moment, just waiting for a little bit of a price drop to go get one.
Yeah, what are they worth? $600 or something?
Yeah, about $550.
Well, that adds up, doesn't it, when you put your flights and everything in for the trip to New Zealand and that, eh?
Oh, it sure does. It sure does. And then just kit, you got backpack, sleeping bag, tent, everything. So
I don't know what the other three things could be. Good glass. Always have good glass with you, or the best as you can afford, I believe, in hunting. If set yourself a budget, if, I'd buy the best you can buy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people get caught up buying the cheap stuff, eBay and that, and they progress that quick with their hunting that the gear just doesn't deliver for them, or it falls, holds them back a bit. So buy the best you can, because it's only going to benefit you and your hunting and serve you well. And that's about it, I reckon, really.
Yeah, glass,
I don't know what else.
Glass is a big one, that's for sure. When I first started hunting, I got a cheap $60, $70 pair of binos from BCF or whatever it was, and looking through them, you'll be like, oh, I think there's an animal there. And you get closer, and it's like, oh, it's just a rock or a branch or a shadow or something. But then when you pick up a quality pair of binos and you look through, and you're like, oh, there's the shadow of the animal. You can see all the curves in the hills and the definition of the leaves and sticks and that in between.
That's right. That's what you need. And footwear.
What
you got to?
What boots are you running?
I've got a pair of Keens that I've been running for the last 2 years. They're not nothing flash. They're $200, I think, or $180.
Very nice.
And I did have to break them in. They did blister me up when I first used them. But once they were broken in, they were right. All comfortable shoes, something decent. At the end of the day, if your feet go on you out there in the mountains, that's your only way of getting out. That's something to really look at. What footwear you're going to take out with you? Waterproof, not waterproof. If you get your feet wet, they're going to blister, soften up and that, and it's just going to make for a bad day.
Yeah, 100%. That's something you brought up very well, very important there, is breaking in your boots before you actually go out. If you get a brand new pair of boots, just wear them everywhere. Go to the shops, wear them. Walk around the block, wear them, just to break them in so you don't have those issues when you first go out for a hunt.
Well, there's nothing worse than getting a blister.
Yeah, touch wood. I can't tell you the last time I've had one. Fortunately, I think I've got pretty tough feet.
Yeah, mine are pretty soft from wearing boots and thick socks all my life.
Yeah. Oh, soon as I get out to my car from work boots straight off, socks straight off, and then barefoot the rest of the time. Just letting those feet.
Boots on, I go to sleep.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
Oh, good clothing's always good. So I've got to have good protective clothing on if you're going to be battling against the elements and that. Or if you're hunting in real cold conditions or hot conditions, you don't want to overheat yourself. I guess water also is one of the big, like a water vessel. So if it's either a platypus, bladder, or Nalgene bottles or something.
Yeah.
Just always make sure you got water on you, because you can get a new hunter. It happened to me when I first I really started going out in some pretty remote stuff on my own. When I got my P's, back then I'd have a pair of binos on an army case on my belt and an old canteen bottle, and that was only a litre or so. And I was just so caught up chasing this mob of goats that I just totally forgot about how far I was going, where I was ending up. Like, growing up in the bush, got a pretty good sense of direction and that, but yeah, I nearly busted myself because I was out of water by the time I decided, shit, I've gone too far here. I've got to turn around. And things got pretty western by the time I got back to the ute. I was dehydrated, my throat was stuffed, tongue was a bit swollen.
Yeah, your body just hurts the next day when you don't have enough water when you're out in tough country, that's for sure.
Yeah, you just got to think about that stuff because you just get so caught up in the moment. As a new hunter, like beginner hunter, and you see something and adrenaline kicks in and you sort of forget about the important stuff.
Yeah. Do you carry a bottle or are you a bladder guy?
I got a bladder and an Nalgene bottle. Nice.
Do you use any of those powders that you chuck in your drinks for that little bit of extra energy while you're out?
Yeah, I bought a pack of that Atlas Wild to regenerate.
Yep.
There's like pretty much Powerade, but it works out about $1.90 the bottle, so it's a lot cheaper than buying a $5 Powerade, and it's pretty good stuff too.
Awesome. I'll have to get myself some. I've got some of that Hunt Smart. I had a pack of that, and I chuck that in every now and again when it's pretty hot out, and it tends to.
Oh, that's the peak refill one, is it?
What was that? Sorry.
Is that the peak refill one? The Hunt Smart?
Peak refill Hunt Smart. Yeah.
Yeah, I was using that last year when I was up in Queensland hunting red deer in the Mary Valley up there. I was drinking that every day, and it keeps you going.
It sure does. And tasty too.
Yeah.
So, how many litres are you carrying out with you for, say, a day hunt?
3 litres all the time.
3 litres?
Yep. Even it's just going out for an arvo, I always have my bladder full, which is the 2 litre, and my 1 litre Nalgene full.
Yeah, I normally take about five-ish if I'm going out all day. I normally take a couple of bottles either side of the pack, and then my 3 litre bladder as well. So
yeah, no, that's a bloody good idea. If I was going out for the full day, I'd probably do the same thing, I'd say.
But I also take a luxury like the jet boil out with me. I'll have a coffee while I'm out, or I'll have a a cup of hot noodles if it's a cold day.
Yeah, those jet boil flashes are bloody good. I got one. That's actually what's in my pack right now, and he just put it in there the other day.
Very nice. Yeah, I got the companion version of the jet boil. Goes all right. So, and it's nice when you shoot something. Just I carry a bit of seasoning, a bit of oil, a little fry pan for it, and cook a little bit of tenderloin while you're out, or a couple of things. Yeah. When you're butchering the animal and you just want to rest, have a quick bite.
That's a good idea, that.
So, a bit of a silly one. Zombie apocalypse weapon. What are you going?
Can it be anything?
Anything.
Probably a bloody AR-15, I'd say. AR-15 with grenade launcher underneath it.
Very nice choice.
40-round magazines.
Yeah, I actually don't think I've had an AR suggested on the podcast. A lot of like AA-12 shotguns and stuff like that with the big drum mag and.
I think I'd go assault rifle, to be honest.
It'd be good. I just wish
holographic
we could...
red dot on the top of it.
Yeah. I wish we could have them anyway. So, what have you forgotten on a hunting trip?
What was that, sorry?
What have you forgotten on a hunting trip?
Release aid.
Is that a you try and shoot fingers, or you just turn around going home?
No, didn't even bother. I stayed and I hunted with the camera.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good idea. Do you carry a spare release aid with you now?
I don't carry on with me, but when I go away somewhere and I've got the bow case and that, I've always got 2 spare releases in it.
That's a good idea. Yeah, because I normally hunt with my 80-litre pack. I normally keep a spare one in the bottom of it, so that way I'll always have one with my bow, and then for some off chance I forget that, I can dig around the bottom of my backpack and pull one out.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Like, normally the hunts I do is like after work.
Yeah.
Or right before work. So pretty much all the time on the back seat of my car, my Hilux, there's my backpack, the bow and the release aid, boots and the camo clothes. Pretty much all year round. So that's why I've got a bad habit of not taking spare stuff with me. But when I go away, I take spare stuff now.
Yeah, I usually keep my main release aid over the gear knob of my ute, so that way it's always there. If I've got my car, I've got my bow, I've got my release aid. Sits there perfectly. What release are you running?
I have the True Ball Assassin.
Yep.
I got 3 of them because I bought 3 of them, so I've got plenty of backup just in case.
Is that a thumb release or back tension, or
trigger.
is it trigger? Yeah. Is that just the wrist strap?
Yeah, wrist strap. Yep.
Have you tried back tension or like thumb release or?
Yeah, I've got a Carter. It does have a thumb thing on it, but that's just a safety. But it is a back tension, I believe, and I've been toying with that for a fair bit. How
do you find it? First time I shot a back tension, I shat. It scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, as I was pulling back, she went off because I didn't realise the thumb thing was a safety.
Ah.
So you got to hold that in when you draw it back, and then when you're at anchor, you can let it go when you're ready, and then pull through your shot.
Yeah, no, it freaked me out way too much. It put me off of thumb releases and back tensions, so I just stick to my trusty trigger release. Hasn't let me down.
Yeah. Go wrong with the old trigger.
And you can't lose it while you're out. You know, it's constantly on your hand.
Exactly. It's so much more convenient. I've seen videos of people with the back tensions and that, they put them in their bino harness or something, got her in their pocket. There's just something else you got to do. Like if it happens, like presents itself that quickly, you got to be thinking, oh shit, where's my bloody release? And it's a lot easier on you.
I've been with a couple of guys, and you've sat down and you get up and you go to move to the next spot, and they're reaching around for their release in their pocket, and they're like, oh shit, it must have fallen out my pocket back there. So you have to waste 15, 20 minutes going back to get that before you move forward.
I've done that with my trigger too. I'll admit it.
Yeah, I've lost mine a couple times when I've taken it off while I'm butchering an animal and
you always
gutting it.
That.
I sit it on top of, like I sat on top of my pack, and just grabbed everything, chucked my pack on, and walked out, and went to go shoot my bow again a couple days later, and I'm like, oh shit, where's my release? And I didn't hunt that property again for about 4 or 5 months, and went back there, looked at my photos where my bag was sitting, walked up, there it was. A couple sprays of WD-40, and she was good.
That's the guy. That's lucky.
What's the most important item you take out hunting with you?
My first aid kit.
First aid kit. Have you had to use it in the field?
Yeah. I've used it a couple of times actually. Yeah. Once on me and other times on a mate.
So what type of injury did you have to use it for?
My mate put a pig sticker through the back of his leg.
Oh, damn.
And almost hit his femoral artery. That got a bit worse than that one.
Yeah,
and,
shit.
Big blood clotting and the big gauzes and all that sort of stuff to strap him up with. And I took a tumble years ago and pretty much popped my shoulder out just about. But lucky I had me, I fell off a cliff sort of, and lucky I had me bloody first aid with me and I had the triangle bandage and all that sort of stuff. So I could splint myself up and get out of there.
Yeah, shit. That sounds a bit hectic. So what happened with the pig sticker and the leg? Had that come about? And
So it was back in the day when we used to hunt pigs with dogs, and my mate was there, and he went in to grab the pig, and he just pulled his knife a bit too early. And I'm not sure if he sort of half tripped at the pig and it sort of bluffed the dog, and the dog let go, and the pig turned on him, and he just somehow knocked his hand, and he put the double-edged pig sticker straight into the back of his leg behind his knee pit.
Oh, shit. Ouch.
It almost poked out the other side. It went all the way.
Fucking hell. So
it was a full-on one. It was a loss of blood. You had to stick your finger in the feel of the artery being hit or not. He nicked it.
Oh, so you pulled the knife out, you didn't leave it in?
No, but he pulled it out in reaction.
Oh, shit.
So I shoved my finger in there, and I'm like feeling around. I could feel the artery. I'm like, oh, hang on a minute, he's bloody nicked it here, or it felt like, because the blood just kept coming.
Fuck.
So we patched him up pretty bloody well and had his leg elevated in the car, and we were in the middle of nowhere. It's probably over an hour drive to a hospital.
That's insane.
He's getting a bit dizzy, and we're giving him fruit juice to keep the sugars up in him, and we got him there.
Yeah, well,
it all worked out.
Was the outcome of that he quick recovery or?
Yeah, no, it was all good. They did a bit of internal surgery, I think, stitches and that, and heaps of stitches on the outside, and that was it. It was all good.
That's brutal. It just shows you how quick something can turn. Like the amount of people, and I'm talking to the guys at Senate, mate, that don't, hardly any of them carry freaking first aid kits out with them. It's just, the amount of people I've met that don't carry some type of first aid kit with them is just ridiculous. You know, I've used it for a couple of cuts and, you know, nothing to that extreme, touch wood, thank God. But yeah, it's just shows you how quick something can go wrong while you're out.
That's right, because I work on my own. I'm the only person here. And I have one in the car all the time, and I've got a buggy that I work out of as well, but I have one in. Because everything you do when you're on your own, it's a risk assessment. You always got to assess everything on what could happen if it all does go pear-shaped. So it's always better to be prepared than not be prepared.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you make your own first aid kits, or do you buy pre-made ones, or?
I buy pre-made ones, but I mix and match them together.
What would be your best tips to put in there?
Well, definitely a snake bandage. That's always number one. What do you call it? Antiseptic, liquid, like to clean out wounds and that.
Yep.
Disinfection, the main thing. I've even got an animal spray called Cetrogen.
Yep.
It's a purple spray for like horses, cows, like for cuts and stuff. I actually use that on myself as well. If it's a bad cut to keep infection out, especially if like something happens with a pig or something, the bacteria they have on them.
Yeah.
And tourniquets, triangular bandage, those silver heat blankets.
Yep. That's something.
Definitely one of them. They can save your life, even if you're not hurt. If you're just stuck out there or something, you can always wrap yourself up in them. Just your standard stuff, band-aids and compression bandages and that.
Yeah. I got laughed at that on the last episode of the podcast for carrying one of the emergency blankets in my first aid kit. The boys,
no, they're good for even if you got to sleep on the ground and you got a mattress or something, you put that underneath, and it was underneath your mattress, and that would stop the cool coming up through it as well.
Yeah, it was just something that was drilled into me from a young age, like going out shooting with my pop quite a bit and fishing, and when he gave me my first knife, he gave me a first aid kit, and it had a flint in it, it had an emergency blanket, it had a little foldable saw, just all the old school survival stuff that you need, a mirror.
Yeah, for singling.
Yeah, and just gave me all of it, Like, if you're going to have a knife and you're going to go out hunting, it pays to have all of this stuff and know how to use it as well, so.
Yeah, that's right. I've got to be trained, and I've done a lot of first aid and senior first aid and stuff, for work stuff as well back in the day. And, like you said, you got to have everything, especially a lighter. Like, I didn't think about when you said the flint. I've always got a lighter with me as well.
Yeah, same. Do you carry some type of, like, fire gel or the little easy lights, or?
No, just a lighter. If it's all wet and stuff, I'll go underneath big logs and stuff and pull out some dry kindling out of that.
There's some fire lighting liquid that you get from a company called Samba. You find it in like Woolworths and stuff. I just got that in a little shampoo bottle, and that stuff goes really, really well. It's a real sticky, flammable gel.
Oh, yeah, I know stuff. I used it to light a charcoal barbecue a while back for a spit.
Yeah, yep. That's what I primarily use it for, but one of the survival pages I follow, they recommend carrying a little bottle of that. And yeah, it goes well.
Oh, that's go.
So, is the pig sticker in the back of the leg the most sketchy, dangerous thing that's happened on a hunt, or you got a story to top that?
No, that's probably the sketchiest thing that's happened to a mate.
What about yourself on a hunt? Is anything sketch?
So when I was a lot younger, like teens, like 17, 18, when I slipped up and I was on sort of in a gorge country where I was hunting, and I slipped off, went down and landed on my shoulder and sort of half popped out or came out, went back in or something. And that put me in a pretty bad way. I was down there for a fair while. I think fractured a few ribs as well, but had my bag on, and so that was because the bag was on. It was within reach, and I could get to the first aid kit and get my triangular bandage out and strap my arm up and stuff. And that's probably the scariest I've had.
Yeah, brutal. That's the thing. Hunting some of that steeper, rockier country is just, how loose some of those rocks are when you've stepped on it. I've had a couple of close calls. On one of the earliest episodes, I spoke about riding a goat carcass down the hill almost. Like me and the goat carcass was sliding down this hill, and yeah, I was just about ready to jump on it and ride it down like a toboggan. What about the funniest thing that's happened to you out on a hunt?
I had a big pig charge at me and go in between my legs a few times. We were playing, what do you call it? Leapfrog. That's probably one of the funniest ones. He just wouldn't leave me alone until he got sick of it.
So is that out around your area, or was that up in the NT? Or?
Yeah. No, that was it.
Speaking of that Bathurst region, how do you find the chopper culling and stuff out that way?
Yeah, a lot of the neighbours around here and that take part in it, and being a property manager, I end up getting hearing about results and all that sort of stuff. I do believe on the pigs and stuff, it's not too bad. Like, it is actually pretty needed when you're actually out on the country every single day and you see what they do to it and that. But it doesn't really do anything, because you know what I mean? Like, they've come through smashing a heap of deer, and then that afternoon you got deer running around.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it is as effective as they say it is, but it makes a lot of landholders happy that they do it.
Do you feel they fudge the numbers a little bit when it comes to it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same down here, especially around where Hainsey has a lot of his deer access. They do a fair few chopper culls, and they seem to do it right as the rut's kicking off. And every year you get reports. Even Cody up your ways said that he's had issues with choppers shooting on his land when they haven't given permission and chasing.
Yeah, they don't like it. They know to them.
Yeah, I can imagine.
They do not like it at all. I've had a lot of arguments with them, but anyway.
It's not. It's in my opinion, it's such a waste of a valuable resource. I understand why they need culling, but yeah, it's in my.
The pig, so much I don't care about, but I don't like the idea of a deer.
Yeah,
I hate that. I friggin' hate it.
How do you, like, being a property manager, how do you find the damage that deer do?
Minimal.
So
deer aren't just a grazing creature. They're a browser. Like, they're, leaves and stuff off trees, and like, if it gets crazy and you're on a small amount of area and you got hundreds of them, then they have an impact on the ground. But if you hunt them regularly and that and keep them in check, well, they don't get out of hand.
How do you find them on fences? And because you'd be doing a lot of fence repair and stuff, do you find that the deer do a bit of damage?
They go over. They go over mainly, and the main thing you'll find is young deer dead in fences.
Yep.
Getting the back leg caught up, and but a lot of places around here, because it's mainly sheep country, there's just the hinge joint. There's no top wire.
Yep.
So they hop over as they please, really. Like, they're not damaging it, really. Natives do a lot more damage than deer do.
Yeah, I was about to say, do you reckon kangaroos do more damage than the deer in fences and stuff? Yep.
Yep, and bloody wombats.
Yeah, wow, wombats. Is that just pushing through underneath, or?
They just level the countryside and cause erosions and all the rest of it. But wombats and roos cause the most damage out here.
What about during the rut and stuff, all the rubbing of the trees? Do you find that the deer kill many of the trees, or you find that it's...
Not really. Around these areas, the young suckers they're rubbing on, we spray them as a similar to an invasive woody weed.
Yep, yep.
So we spray them anyway.
Yeah, cool. It's an interesting topic. You know, you spit, like, one of my past guests. He was a studying biologist at the time, but now he's a fully qualified biologist. And him and I go back and forth about, you know, whether deer should be kept on the land or not be kept on the land because of like ecological reasons. And, you know, he thinks they should be all removed. And then, you know, there's me who's absolutely adores deer. Like, I could never picture not hunting them and being around them just because I love them so much. And just having that battle. So it's refreshing.
I feel exactly how you feel, mate. There's like, they did a recent chopper shoot here about a month ago, and they were out for a week, and they said they got 77 deer. And out here, the amount of deer that I've seen, sometimes they won't even put a dent in one mob, pretty much.
That's insane.
So, like, on property, probably wouldn't even really put a dent in them, but that's 77 carcasses rotting away in the paddock, isn't it?
It is. Do you get wild dogs up that way, or?
Thank God, no. There has been a couple. One's probably 20-something k's away, but it was shot straight away. The farmer who saw it had his rifle with him and took him out straight away. I had one scare at home with dog tracks, but I believe it was a poacher with pig dogs.
Yeah.
Because I did a lot of tracking, and it ended up leading to a vehicle track, so I'm pretty sure it was a poacher with pig dogs.
Yeah. That's a shame.
Be lucky they are. They're probably here. They're just not out and about yet.
Do you feel that, like, chopper culls in dense areas where the dog populations are higher are causing the dog populations to boom because of the amount of abundance of food after they do a cull?
I'd say it will help them out a lot.
Yes.
Because it'll stop the dog from hunting and killing livestock, but because any predator would rather scavenge than hunt.
Yeah, 100%.
Especially the off.
Oh, you cut out for a little bit there. What was that, sorry?
With the litters of pups, with the chopper sheds and that, it will probably ensure the survival of every pup because there'll be plenty of feed for mum for the milking.
Yeah, that's true.
And it will distract them from taking down livestock for a little bit, but once they clean up what they've shot, they'll just be straight back in the livestock anyway. But it will help with their breeding, I think, put them in better condition. What
about pig numbers? Do you find that the pigs tend to scavenge on the carcasses up that way, or there's enough green pick to keep them happy?
In the summertime, they do. They really get stuck into dead animals.
Yep.
In the wintertime, not so much, but in summer, definitely they go straight for the carcasses.
Do you think that boosts pigs' numbers after they do the chopper culls, or?
I know it stirs them up because I did a chopper shoot around here and I'd never had pigs really like prevalent on the place, and then after they left, the whole entire place got ploughed up.
Yeah, wow.
And I was seeing pigs every day.
I'm kind of envious. It's something we don't really have down here as pigs, so it's something
But
I
Ainsley,
haven't shot
you
in
really want
Australia yet.
to. Hmm. Yeah, Hainesy wants to come out and kill a few pigs. Hopefully, I can get him out soon.
Yeah, he's lucky. He's one of the rare people that have shot a decent size feral South Australian pig. So
There's not.
there's not heaps down this way. There's a few on Kangaroo Island, but the few trips I've done over there, I haven't been able to find anything. And then one pops up in the Flinders Ranges every now and again, coming down from Broken Hill during the droughts.
Yeah.
So, what about top 5 dream animals? Anywhere in the world, budget, not worrying about that. What would be your top 5 dream animals?
Well, number 1 would have to be a mule deer. Number 2 would be an elk. 3 would be a Cape buffalo.
Very nice.
4 would be a bloody good samba.
Yep.
And I'll go 5 with a rooster.
With a rooster, nice. Very nice. So, the mule deer, do you have a particular state that you would want to do? Or
Probably Montana.
Montana, very nice.
Yeah, or Colorado.
Very nice, very nice. Two beautiful states. So would you want to do like a full backpack public land hunt or private land or?
Backpack public.
Very nice. Hiking in or the whole horse in base camp?
Yeah, probably the horses. I grew up doing a lot of horse riding, so yeah, no, that'd be good to get back on one.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I don't trust horses too much. I'm more of a motorbike person.
Motorbike can't fuck you off, big guy.
Yeah, exactly. Except if you pull that throttle a bit too hard.
They let you back off when they kick you off.
So, why's mule deer number 1? What's attractive about a mule deer?
I don't know, something about them, eh? The big 4x4 mule deer just really does it for me more than an elk does. I don't know why. That's pretty mad to say, but I just love mule deer.
Look, I can see why. Watching some of those hunts, especially when they're hunting that like bluffy, hilly country where you have all the shady cliff areas, and you get those guys that they're standing above the cliff and they're 15 meters above them and they're shooting straight down onto a bedded mule deer buck. That's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. The type of country they live in too. Like high country mule deer would be a dream hunt.
Yeah, it would be insane. There's some amazing videos every year that get posted of some guys shooting them with a bow on top of them. It's Remy posted a wicked one, Remy Warren, a month or so back, sneaking up on it, and he was saying you're like 5 meters from the animal and you're just waiting for him to get into that position.
That's a very good feeling, wouldn't it?
It would be. So, Samba, have you gone down to Vic chasing them yet?
No, I've never ever seen one. I've never hunted them, and my new obsession.
Awesome. So, would you go to Vic to chase them, or hit some of those pockets in New South?
I'd love to go to public land in Victoria and spend a week out there backpacking.
Very nice.
That's my next goal. Actually, that's the next thing on the list. I really, really want to get into Samba.
Perfect. So, what time of year you're looking at going doing that?
Probably closer to September next year.
Yep. Very nice.
Got a few blokes on Instagram. I put up a post one day about it, and it's amazing the amount of people that reached out about it, offering spots and all that sort of stuff, and helping us out. And so I was told around September time, just beforehand, is the best time to go for them.
Yeah, I think that's when majority of the deer are hard antler and rutting, but they're one of those funny species where you can have a freshly shed stag and a fully hard stag at the same time.
Yeah, that's it. And I'd love to get one of them down with the bow, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely. I've shot one on private land under spotlight when we were culling for a farmer. But yeah, they're a cool animal, and wait till you get honked. That's just a insane thing. Like there's no
I've watched that videos on them, and I'm listening to them and stuff. It'd be pretty cool to actually experience it.
video. Listening to it on video has nothing on it in real life. It cuts through you, like you feel it deep in your bones.
That's awesome. That's what I want to feel.
Yeah, the only other deer species I've hunted that comes close to that is sika in New Zealand. They're less than half the size, and so they're just so much harder to hunt.
Yeah, they're pretty cool looking deer too, the old sika.
Oh, it's the sounds that they make, especially when they're eoring and stuff and roaring, is just incredible. There's no red and fallow make some cool sounds, and I haven't heard elk in person yet, but yeah, sika roaring in person, there's no sound I've heard that's better.
I don't know, I've never heard of a bad sounding deer.
So let's have a chat about a couple of your hunts on the past year. NT, how'd that come about?
That was a long life dream of taking a water buffalo, and I've got young family, 4 kids under 12 years old, and they're finally old enough now that I could sort of leave home and leave the missus in charge, and things are pretty good. So I thought, why not now than never? It's an expensive hunt. It's not something you'd want to do every year.
Exactly. Yeah, it's pretty pricey.
I just thought it's the right time, get it done now while I can, in position and in the position to do it. And got out there and went my hardest, and accomplished everything I wanted to do up there.
And you self-film most of that. I've watched a couple of the videos on it.
A lot of the self-filmed. Harry Stanton did a bit of filming as well over the shoulder with my big camera.
Yep, very nice. What's Harry's? I forgot Harry's guiding service.
True Wild Outfitters.
True Wild Outfitters. That's right, and that's the same one that Aaron Whitaker went to as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. There's great things. Yeah. Ivan and Kimmy went out there too, I'm pretty sure. He seems to have.
Yeah, it's awesome spot.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to get up there one day. How'd you go with the adrenaline rush stalking an animal that size?
Addictive. It's very, very addicting.
So what type of yardages were you shooting them from?
I shot the cow and the bull both at 30.
Yeah.
I did shoot another meat animal, a fairly young bull, and probably shot it at about 5 meters.
Yeah, wow.
I was up. We had buffalo within 5 meters of us quite a few times, and that was in some sort of semi-dense bush. We had buffalo. Yeah, we were in there calling, looking for bulls, but there's only sort of younger bulls and cows and calves in there, but they were just coming straight in and walking all around you. That was just an insane feeling, because the power of them, if they wanted to have a go at you.
Yeah, I could imagine.
We did have one bull come at us, which was pretty crazy. It was after I killed the cow, and we were there cutting the cow up, and Harry's just jumped over the cow, and I'm like, oh shit, he's stepped on a snake or something. And I looked up, and there's the bull right there, head down, coming. I'm like, Jesus. But we managed to shoo him away. He ended up leaving us, but it was pretty thick stuff too. Heap of leaf litter, but did not make a sound coming in.
Yeah,
and it was a big old busted up bull too.
Yeah, I've heard for the size of them, they're pretty quiet in that country.
Oh, they are, and they can travel too. Shit, they can travel.
So what type of distances were you hunting during the day? Like, were you doing a lot driving around to different water holes, or were you just on your feet all day when you're out chasing them?
A bit of both. Is driving out to certain spots because it's such a big area, and over the 5 days of hunting, he sort of wants to take you to every area that he knows holds good buff and that. And so you do a lot of miles in the car, but then you pull up and go and walk a lot of miles as well. We were probably doing 20k a day.
How'd you go with the humidity up there?
Yeah, no, good. It was nice and dry then. It was June, so there's bugger all humidity. There was no insects.
Yep, perfect. Is that a time of year that's recommended on going, or?
Yeah, June's a very good time up in the territory, from what I've been told. So that's why I booked the time for then.
Yep, perfect. And it worked out well for you.
Yeah, it was perfect, mate. And still hot enough you could lay down in the creek or the river and have a nice cool down.
Speaking of the creeks and that, did you do much fishing while you're up there?
No, there's no fish on. There's no barramundi or decent fish on the place I was on because there's a waterfall at one end, one boundary that feeds it apparently, and that sort of stuffs the fish up.
Okay.
There's only a few little freshwater crocs in there.
Oh, that's all right. They're not so dangerous. I still wouldn't want to get a nip by one, but
no, you wouldn't want one to nip you. But there's sort of a fair few of them about, but nothing of size.
Yeah, cool. So you're seeing a few then.
And the whole time we were there, saw that one pig, and I managed to arrow him, get him down. So that was bloody good.
Yeah, it'd be tough work finding pigs out in that type of country.
Yeah, because the place, like, sort of one half is sort of what you call open, and the other side's sort of got a few fences here and there in the cattle country.
Yeah.
And yeah, in the cattle country, that's where the majority of the pigs are.
Yeah, yeah.
So we were bloody lucky to come across that boar, and even more lucky to put an arrow in him and put him down.
Perfect. What about scrubbers? Did you see any scrub balls up there?
Yeah, bloody fair few scrubbers, probably saw a dozen. Never really got a stalk on one. I wanted a scrubber. I was pretty keen to have a crack at a scrub ball, but the way it worked out with getting the water buffalo done, sort of time was a bit tight.
Yeah, could imagine. They're big animals by the time you have to cape them out and chop them up.
Oh, yeah, and the scrubbers are a lot more flighty than the buffalo are.
Yeah, a bit more dangerous too, I've heard.
Yeah, apparently they like to have a good crack. Yeah, I never got to experience that, but one day I'd like to get a scrub ball.
Yeah, they're on the list. Is your dream to just slowly tick off everything in Australia?
No, just tick off good stuff. Just what I want. Like, I know there's a green slam and all that sort of stuff and this and that, but I'm happy poking along doing what I'm doing.
What's high on your list, and then what's low on your list?
So the highest is sandbar.
Yeah.
And the lowest, I don't know. Like, what if I had to go and do something? Probably chittle. That'd be pretty low on the list.
Yeah. Wow. That's usually pretty high on people's list, especially because they're a pretty really good eating deer. They're from my understanding, they're probably the second best eating deer we have in Australia.
It's it. Don't get me wrong. I love that one, but it's not like I'm not going to go in and book a trip straight away to try and get one and find the access for it. If I was going to go book another trip, it'd probably be up to Coburg for a bantang.
Yep. Oh, dude, they're a cool animal. That's a
lot of money. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're a cool animal. They're something that not many people get to hunt. There seems to be more people hunting them these days. That that guided access is being a bit more accessible. But yeah, they're a pretty pricey animal.
Yeah, like if I was going to pay for another hunt, I'd probably rather put the money into bantang, or for best bang for your buck, I'd probably go over to Africa.
Yeah, you get a few animals over there for the price. That's for sure. Aaron Whitaker,
best bang over there.
Aaron Whitaker went over there a couple of years back, and he did all right.
Yeah, you get like 5 animals for pretty much $5,000. Pretty much.
Something along those lines. Craig Merton's the guy to go speak to.
Cruise the Safaris.
Yeah, Cruise the Safaris. That's it. That's it. The name was escaping me. Hopefully Craig's going to be a future guest, so we'll be able to break down.
Yeah. Top bloke. I've had a couple of long phone conversations with him.
Oh, he's a very, very, very nice guy. I first met him when I was working at BCF. I knew about him, and then he came through and just got chatting. I think we chatted in store for like an hour and a half.
Maybe that.
So what's your favourite thing to cook with hunted game meat?
All of it. I'm not too biased on cuts. Like, don't get me wrong, everyone loves a backstrap.
Yep.
But I love leg steaks as much as I love backstrap.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. The backstraps are good, but they seem to be a very overrated cut. Some of those steaks you pull off of the hind quarter can be pretty damn good.
Oh, especially if you pulled a round out and then steak that up. That's just as tender as far as I'm concerned. Like, I'll do a whole back leg into steaks.
Yeah. I've been there, done that at a fallow a few times.
They just have that bone in the middle, and you get to suck the marrow out afterwards. Bloody good.
Yeah. So I haven't actually cut them up on the leg with the bone in, but cut them into all their cuts and then section them into steaks and small roasts and stuff.
Oh,
and yeah, it goes well. So
all of it's good to me.
Yeah. It's crazy the amount of people that actually don't like venison.
There must be something wrong with them, or they're not doing it right.
So do you have a go-to recipe? What are you just doing steaks?
When I generally just steak it all up, and I do mince front legs.
Yep.
They get minced up and they just get used for like bolognese and when you do the Mexican tacos, whatever.
Yep.
Everything else just steaks is normally cooked with olive oil and just salt and pepper on a cast iron.
Yep. Beautiful.
And mate of mine put me on this barbecue seasoning, blue smoke, a rib rub or something. Put that on it. That's bloody really nice as well.
Yeah, sweet. I love a good spice mix on venison.
Good.
With your mince, are you adding any pork into it, or are you just going straight venison mince?
Nah, just straight.
Yeah, perfect. That's how I do it. I've only seen recently that a bunch of people mix it with pork fat. I'm like,
yeah,
for sausages I can understand, but I reckon it would ruin the flavour.
It sort of disguises it a bit, I think. But like normally, yeah. You shoot, like the young ones that I shoot at a fair few young deer.
Yeah.
And they got good fat coverage on them, and that fat gets minced through with them.
Yep.
And that makes them and I also just get it and whack a bit of onion and mustard, a bit of seasoning on it, and squish them up in the burgers as well.
Yep. Burgers.
In the
burgers go nice, that's for sure.
And a bit of jerky with a lot of the offcuts. I'll cut them up for jerky.
How do you do your jerky? Do you have a dehydrator, or are you using the oven?
Yeah, I got a dehydrator and get this mountain meat or mountain seasoning or something. It's got the cure in it as well.
Yep.
So I just do it like that, and you let it cure and marinate for 24 hours in the fridge, and then it sits in the hydrator for about 7-8 hours.
Perfect.
And then you've got yourself a nice big bag of jerky.
Yeah, I love jerky. The effort that goes into it and how much you get out of it, it's just difficult. Like, you'll spend 2 days making 500 grams of jerky, and it's gone in a day.
Right. It takes 31 hours, 32 hours to do it.
And that's eaten as well.
It's 15 minutes.
So, how do you see the public views on hunting and hunters?
It's getting a lot worse from what I can see on socials and that. They're coming at us from all directions. A lot of people aren't being brought up hunting anymore.
Yep.
It really saddens me. A lot of the kids and like even 20-year-olds now, they think meat comes in a black tray with a bit of shrink wrap over the top of it, and like I've got cousins that didn't even know where the hell things come from, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is pretty ordinary.
Yeah, that's insane.
I don't think people want people to be able to look after themselves and be self-sufficient anymore, to be honest. I know the government doesn't seem to want things that way.
Yeah, it seems to be more and more of a push towards government reliance and self-sufficiency, that's for sure.
It's if we all just band together, like Bowhunter, Dogger, Rifle Hunter, whatever, just all of us stick together and stop this stupid petty arguing on Facebook comments and Instagram comments, and because that's just fuel for the fire. Like, oh look, they can't even get along with themselves, let alone society.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can have like in-house banter, but when it comes to the end of the day, you have to have each other's back for every discipline of hunting. Because
you can't be publicly attacking each other on a social media, Fred.
Yeah, exactly. You know, there's shit talk, and then there's attacking. You know,
like you see it all the time. Someone shoots something in velvet, everyone goes off at him. Oh, you should have let it grow, buddy. He legally did what he did. He made the choice. Who cares?
Yeah, some of that stuff grinds my gears. Oh, that would have been good in a couple of years, or you know, why'd you shoot that? Why'd you shoot a doe? Why'd you shoot something in velvet?
Yeah, like, who cares? That's what he wanted to do, and he did it legally. Yeah. It's up to him.
It does pain me to see bucks shot in velvet, but you know, there's a reason we do it, and it's because they're an introduced species, and we're trying to drop numbers down.
That's it. If he's doing it to eat it, well, I'll take my hat off to him, because a lot of people shoot them and get the picture, but they don't eat them. But anyway.
Yeah, that grinds my gears more than anything. But hey, it's legal to do so in Australia. We don't have any of those wanton waste laws.
You can't go off about it, because if it's done legally and that's what they want to do, that's up to them.
Exactly. So you mentioned there that kids don't get brought up in hunting, and earlier you said that you have 4 of your own. So do you get your kids involved?
Yep. Finn, my second youngest, he took his first kill, and he did it with a bow at 7 years of age.
That's amazing. You sent through the photos straight away. I was absolutely stoked for you.
You were going through it all. No, that was they've come, you know, I've had mates out here, and with their rifles and stuff, and we've gone out spotlighting at night, knocked over deer, and they eat it all as well.
Yeah.
If I cook deer, I really got to cook a lot extra, because they would just wipe it off my plate from me.
Yeah, my 8-year-old's not too interested in eating venison, but my 2.5-year-old, he loves it. But he's, you know, whenever we cook meat at night, he's, what animal is this? What animal is this?
He's asking that, he wants to know. That's one of the best things. That's being like people aren't asking anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, we'll have lamb chops, and he'll be like, oh, what animal is this? And I'll be like, that's a sheep. Or, you know, we drove past
some form of connection with what he's eating.
Yeah, exactly. You know, he's always had that. You know, he was 3 days old, and I was butchering deer on the kitchen bench with him strapped to my chest.
That's a guy.
So yeah, he's had no choice.
Nah, it's good for him.
So, how would you change the public views on hunting and hunters?
That's a hard one. The only way they can actually see it and take it all in is for them to actually go out and do it. I'd happily take them along with me on a hunt and show them how it all works and what happens afterwards, and like the shooting bit. That's just not really much to do with the whole hunt at all. That's the quickest part.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I believe everyone should go out and do something before they judge it.
Yeah, so do I. It's a hard one. It's a hard one though, because the people that don't want you to hunt animals, they wouldn't just come out hunting with you because, you know, they're looking at it like it's murder. You'd definitely be able to get the people sitting on the fence, that's for sure. But yeah, these hardcore animal rights extremists, and you know, all the shit that we're going through here in SA with this proposed bow hunting ban. from what I can see, it's not looking good. RSPCA are gunning pretty hard on it.
That's one thing we can do, get rid of them.
Yeah, a bunch of
They're
hypocrites.
no good for anything.
No, they are not.
There's that video and all photos that circulated a few years ago back in the drought. They had all of his old mate's cattle in these cattle yards, and then in the background of the photo there's just hay shed after hay shed full of hay that this farmer bought.
Yeah.
And the RSP officers shot every one of his cows in them yards and left them there and told him, good luck, see you later.
Yeah, I kind of remember that one. Yeah, they're pretty brutal.
Oh, mate, he spent all the money looking after his stock, yet they decided nothing. They shot every one of them in the head.
Yeah, it's hard when you've got, people like that who have somewhat of authority over stuff, and then they've got a certain way they look at the world. So,
like you were saying, extremists, you can't tell them anything.
No, you cannot. It's
impossible. It's like talking to a brick wall. Like, I got attacked massively on Facebook one time. One of my kids, only 5 or something, and there's just a photo just saying, "Oh, young fella enjoying his venison stroganoff."
Yeah, wow.
And it just kicked off with all these extremists with different coloured dyed hair and bull rings hanging out of their nose and stuff. And buddy, like the language they were using about and what they were calling my 5-year-old was absolutely out of this world. I could not believe it. I had to put all my Facebook and everything on full private and hide everything from public and only a few people. That's why I hardly ever use Facebook at all.
Yeah. No, that's understandable. I've had that global hate campaign when it comes to anti-hunters with the whole cat saga, so I know exactly what that's like.
You've been in the walls, mate.
What was that? Sorry, mate?
I said you've been in the walls a couple of times.
Couple times, but hey, I put myself out there, and I only try and do good for hunting and try and spread positive messages for it. And it's something I'm very passionate about, and if people are against it, I want to let them at least hear my side and why I love it, and what it's done for me and people I know, and how it puts food in my freezer.
Right, we need more like you, mate.
There seems to be a lot more like it. So thankfully, with things like podcasts, it seems to be ever growing. There seems to be a bigger community just growing and growing.
That's it. No, it's good. All the platforms that we have to, show our world and explain it and stuff.
It's good. It can be used for great, and it could be used for evil too, unfortunately. But
that's right. There's always evil with good.
Yeah, exactly. So, what is hunting to you?
Oh, it's in the blood. It's just part of who I am, to be honest. It's my way of providing. I feel like as a man in the family, I should be a provider, and the satisfaction that I get out of being able to do that myself, walk out into the scrub with a bow and an arrow and bring home meat and, provide, sustain the family. And I know it's just something that we've always done. Without it, no one would be here.
Exactly. Yeah, it's
embedded in me, and I don't push it on my kids at all. They're near as hardcore as I am. They're really starting to get into it, and it's just something that I just feel like it's right when I'm doing it.
That's great to hear.
It's not something I have to do, but it feels like something I have to do, but it just feels right. It's not forced. It's not, I better go out and go for a hunt. It's just I want to.
Yeah. It's a hard one to explain, that feeling. Like you just want to go out. It's not that you want to leave your friends or family behind. It's that you just it just feels natural being out.
Hey, and it's like, if you don't get anything, at least you're out there doing something. You're not sitting on your ass just, wasting an afternoon or a weekend, whatever. At least you can go out there and you're in amongst it, like in nature sort of thing. Like,
yeah, you watch the sunrise, you hear the birds kick off one by one. One species starts off first, and then a couple minutes later another species kicks off, and the Australian bush at first light is just an incredible thing.
That's just what I was about to say next, is the amount of things you see because of hunting that there's so many people could only imagine or see on a screen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you really see out of this world things. I've had a wedge-tailed eagle land on a branch above me when I was rattling, and he just sat there for the whole time I was rattling. He's only 5 foot above my head, just looking down the whole time. Like, that was insane.
I was out hunting. Speaking of wedge-tails, I was out hunting with one of my mates, and he was putting in a stalk on a goat, and I'm just sitting down there watching him, and then next minute I hear this massive thwack, and he jumps up, the goats jump off, they all run off, and it was a rainy-ish day. I thought he'd taken a shot, and I thought the string caught his jacket, and I thought that's what the whack was. And I've walked up, I'm like, what happened? And he's like, what the fuck did you throw that at me for? I'm like, what are you talking about? And what had happened is a wedgie'd been circling over above, and it had a lamb, and it's dropped this lamb from 100 foot up, maybe higher, and it's landed 2 feet away from him at his feet, but it's just made this hell of a frickin' thwack. 2 feet more, it would have landed on his head. And yeah, scared the shit out of him. He thought I was throwing shit at him, and
trying to ruin his hunt on him.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he was getting in on those goats, and yeah, this wedgie's just ruined his hunt by dropping a lamb on him.
I've seen them do it to goats, swoop down and pick up all the kids' goats. Looks like they're having fun, and they go straight up as high as they can and just let them go.
Yeah. This lamb had, it's eaten all its head, and yeah, it just must have slipped out of its claw or something and dropped it on him.
They are an amazing bird, but
they are. They're a huge bird. Like, you don't appreciate them until you get right up close to them and just see that wing spread. You get the
top of a really high mountain or whatever hill that's pretty steep, and they take off from the top, and they're at like your eye level.
Oh, there's that, and then just laying back and watching them sweep through the currents in the air. They're just hovering, just cruising. Like, if I could be any animal in the world, it would probably be some type of eagle.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind being one of them too, because they're protected. No one could come after me then.
Well, where can people find you on social media? Where can they go watch your videos on your YouTube channel? And
the YouTube channel, the name is the Aussie Bowhunter. What's Instagram? It's at all lowercase Brett Meldrum 085.
Yep.
And that's pretty much it.
So yeah, if you're listening and you're not following Brett, head over to his Insta, give him a follow, head over to his YouTube and subscribe, watch his videos. He has some amazing videos on there. But yeah, amazing.
Got a lot more coming.
That's what I like to hear. I can't wait to kick back on the couch and Chromecast it to the TV and watch it with the boys. So
that's good. I'm glad you're watching.
Yes, mate. I wouldn't miss it as soon as they're up. There's two main people I watch when their videos come up, and that's you and Aaron Whitaker.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Nah, all good. Thank you very much for coming on, mate. Much appreciated.
Thanks for having me, mate. Yeah, great talk.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening to another episode of Hunting Connection Podcast. Please head over to our social media and give us a follow. Instagram at Hunting Connection Podcast, Facebook at Hunting Connection Podcast, Twitter at Hunting Connect, TikTok at Hunting Connection Podcast. If you've enjoyed, please share with your friends and family, tag us in your photos and videos on social media, subscribe, rate and review to help grow the podcast. If you're interested in giving additional support to the podcast, you can head over to our podcast's Patreon page. Thank you very much for listening, and catch you next episode.